today, I saw Morbius. I have proof. Dear God. Alright, everyone. Look, I just got finished filming the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I rewatched all the videos, all the movies, and I made my reviews. And to go from that to this, that is quite a change. Morbius is awful. Like, putrid. This is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Yeah. So, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, Morbius. Stars Jared Leto, Matt Smith, Adria Arjona, Jared Harris, Tyrese Gibson, and Al Madrigal. It was directed by Daniel Espinosa, and it was produced by Emma Ludbrook and Luis Rosner. And this movie tells the story of a man who has a blood condition. And he has a friend who grew up in the same hospital as him who has the same blood condition. And Jared Leto's character is very smart, and so he dedicates his life to trying to find a cure. He thinks he's done it by sort of combining bat DNA with it, and he tests this on himself, and when he does, he turns himself into this human bat hybrid with superpowers, and he has to try find a way to control it and cure it, and yeah. Alright, so I'm going to tell you before I go further, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. I cannot talk about this movie without spoiling it. Normally, I'll just do spoiler-free and then give my rating and then talk by spoilers, but I don't really see a way to do that with this movie, so this is going to be a spoiler-filled review, just so you're aware, in case you haven't seen Morbius yet. Do yourself a favor, though. Don't watch Morbius. Don't give these people money. Don't. The fact that this movie in one weekend made far more money than the last Duel did the entire time it was in theaters is just so aggravating. This movie is awful. I mean, it's probably slightly better than The Last Airbender, but slightly worse than Wonder Woman 1984. To give you an idea of how I feel about this. This is an awful, awful movie. I mean, holy crap. This is terrible. I mean, jeez. Wow. Wow, that was bad. Oh my gosh. And now my dog is concerned about me. He can tell when I'm upset. And he's coming over here and he's looking at me. Because he knows I'm upset. And I am upset. Because this movie's bad. Come here, buddy. Come here. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. Good boy. Okay. Oh. That was a nice distraction for about 5 seconds. Now I'm sad again. Okay. Wow. Yeah, this movie's awful. This is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It really is. Yeah. Don't go see Morbius. Don't support these people. It's awful. I mean, they kind of set it up like there's gonna be more of this character in the future, so maybe you could see it just because you might see more of him in the future, but this movie is just so bad. I don't recommend. I mean, maybe I wouldn't even recommend watching this movie when it comes out on streaming because it's just so bad. But if you want to watch it for the sole reason that's going to tie into other Marvel stuff, wait until it's on streaming. Don't give these people money. Don't buy it when it comes out. Don't support this type of filmmaking. It doesn't deserve it. So, because it's just lazy. It is. It is. So, let's go ahead and get into my pros. The concept is cool. Okay, I'm done. Let's go ahead and get into my cons. For one thing, this movie probably should have been rated R. This is a vampire movie without the blood. You see blood in like bags, but that's it, like medical like blood bags. But like these are you have a vampire movie with no blood. It doesn't work, dude. It doesn't work. So, alright, so let's go ahead and get into my first spoiler of the movie. So, Milo, right, his friend from the hospital, so he becomes the villain in this movie. But before he does, he's going to Jared Leto, he's like, let me have this serum, please, like, let me have this, like, it'll help me too. And he's like, no, bro, it made me kill people. But he just doesn't care. I'm like, why would you want to purposely take something that you know will make you kill people? Okay. It's boring. This is a really boring movie. I went on my phone at times during this movie. Don't worry, I didn't disturb the people around me. There was nobody in my row, and I had a wall behind me, like separating the row, so nobody above me could see it either. So don't think I'm a crappy movie goer. I'm not. But there were times where I went on my phone because I was just so bored. The facial CGI isn't. It's not bad, but like it could have been better, and it really would have been much better if they used like practical makeup instead of CGI in their face. They might have used some makeup, but really it was CGI'd, and it's not. CGI isn't really threatening, so it just doesn't really work. The writing is terrible. This is a terrible script that needed so many more drafts, or even just like scrapped and started over with. Milo becomes evil for no reason. He only does because for a while this movie doesn't have a villain, and I think at some point they were like, we need a villain, so we were like, okay, let's just make Milo evil, because he becomes evil for absolutely no reason at all. Like, no reason at all. Like, there's no reason for him to be as evil as he is. He just suddenly turns evil. So, like, when, like, Morbius is, like, flying and, like, jumping around and stuff, and same for Milo, there's, like, this mist fog effect around them, which looks pretty cool, but during the action sequences, it does a detriment to it, because it kind of covers it some. Most of the time, I really just wanted this movie to end. This movie's about an hour and 40 minutes, and it feels longer. It's a very fast-paced movie, but at the same time, it's also super boring. I don't know how that's possible, but somehow they pulled it off with this. And it's only about an hour and 40 minutes, but it feels way longer. There's a forced romance in this movie that just comes out of nowhere, and it's just, you would have never expected it. It just suddenly happens, and it's terrible. The fight scenes are pretty unwatchable. Like I said, the fog effect kind of covers it up, and the camera can't keep up with it. Most of the action sequences are just like tumbling debris and stuff, and you can't see anything. The after credit scenes, there's 2 after credit scenes, but they really could have just been one. I don't understand why there was a cut in it. It could have just been one scene with a cut, like, to go to the next part. It made no sense. Milo is, like, rich, and maybe I just missed this part, but I don't remember them ever explaining where he got his money from. The characters are all super stale. There's this one scene where Matt Smith is dancing. In some movies, that scene might have worked, but because he's just, like, feeling, like, all high on himself, but in this movie, it was just stupid. So at the beginning of the movie, like, Jared Leto, like, sticks his hand in this cave so that these bats will come out so he can capture them, like, in this cage he's got set up. Like, this cave is, like, on this ledge in the mountains. And he cuts his hand and sticks it in, and all these bats come swarming toward him. Like, I'm pretty sure if I walked into a cave with bats with a cut on my hand, I'm not gonna get swarmed with bats. It was really dumb. And then all the bats come swarming out, and some of them get caught in the cage. And like all the dudes who like flew him there, they all leave, and so it never explains how Jared Leto gets off the ledge. Matt Smith, like, he takes like the serum, right, and he gives himself the shot, right, so that he can have the power. But the problem is that they show you in the movie is that Jared Leto got it in his spine, in like the middle of his back. So how did he get the shot? How did he give himself the shot? It doesn't make any sense. And also, the Vulture is in this movie, which would be cool, I guess. But, like, so he shows up randomly in their universe from, like, Spider-Man No Way Home. He comes through, like, the multiverse, and he's in Jared Leto's universe now. And, like, he all of a sudden, like, after the scene cuts to the next one, he all of a sudden has this Vulture suit, but it never explains how he got his Vulture suit. And, honestly, I'm just going to say this. This is the worst MCU movie of all time, if it even is. And, I mean, it technically, like, Venom and stuff, like the Sonyverse, technically it is MCU, but it's a Marvel character, so and they are tying this into the MCU because Vulture's there, you know, like with the Sonyverse, and the Sony Spider-Man movies are part of the MCU, so technically, yeah, this is an MCU movie, and I gotta say, this is the worst MCU movie. Of all the MCU movies, this one is the worst. It is. It really is. This is a terrible, awful, awful movie. I hated this movie. And I went into this movie with the lowest of expectations, and I was... I don't want to say I was still disappointed. This movie didn't really make me that mad, because, like, I never had expectations for it to begin with. Like, Wonder Woman 1984 made me really mad because I went into it expecting it to be good. The Matrix Resurrections made me really mad because I went into expecting it to be good. I never had expectations for this movie. I went into this with the lowest of expectations, and it met those lowest of expectations. Like, it was really, really awful. Everything that I heard about it was true. This is a terrible movie. Don't waste your time with it. I'm going to give Morbius a 25. That's the equivalent of a 2.5 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, awful movie. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Go see something else. Go see The Batman again. For real. Go see that again. Go see that again. That's a better use of your time than going to see this. Oh, boy, this was terrible. All right. More reviews coming soon. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Pod Planet Entertainment for more. Hit the like button. Leave me reviews, suggestions down in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram at Pod Planet Entertainment for channel updates. And much love.